I would like to welcome everybody to this demonstration. NAZIYAH Harris, what's going on to make Jarvis Butts represent himself? I will be having Miss Parker pour up on me to help me with this demonstration. This is one of those demonstrations that I definitely want to get the opinions of others. So whom else but to have her weigh in on this? None other than Miss Parker, as well as any other content creator that's out there that would like to join me on the panel, or if any of you subscribers would like to join me on the panel and chop it up, feel free. Appreciate that new membership, Barbara. Appreciate that new membership. Now, salute to the chat. Salute to the chat. Salute to my moderators. Salute to the replay gang. Now, allegedly, Jarvis Butts is representing himself on his latest charges. All right, let's tap into his latest charges if you don't already know about him.
With the death and assault of 13-year-old NAZIYAH Harris is now facing new charges in a separate case. Jarvis Butts is accused of sexually assaulting a 12-year-old girl back in 2013.
So he got this sexual assault charge on a 13-year-old back in 2013. All right. Salute to the chat. Salute to the replay gang. Now, before we go any further, let's just tap into representing yourself. Now, remember, everybody, this is Michigan. All right. So it says all adult citizens have the constitutional right to represent themselves in court. If you represent yourself, you are considered self-representative. Litigants, and you are acting as your own attorney. All right. It says, what is the success rate of representing yourself in court? Now, it says, so using these findings as a barometer, we can assume that your success rate might be roughly 10% to 30% if you represent yourself in court. In other words, your odds of success should improve if you hire an attorney rather than going in alone in court. And there's different reasons. However, there are those that have represented themselves and have won, but it's a lot. It's a lot that comes along with representing yourself. All right. It says, why is representing yourself in court a bad idea? It says, if you were to defend yourself, your point of view would be biased on every fact and statement, making it difficult to see other points of views. An attorney is dispassionate and objective, allowing them to see your case through the same light as the judge, jury, and prosecution. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist for me to explain exactly what it's saying. You know, it's just because you're going to be biased. You know, it's you. So anything that the prosecution throw out there, you're going to object. You're going to want to object to everything that the prosecution throw out there. And even when it comes time to you presenting your case, you know, when you questioning witnesses, you know, you could be in your feelings. So the $1 million question is, what's going on to make Jarvis represent himself. Not in the NAZIYAH Harris case. For those that are just pulling up, he's not representing himself in the NAZIYAH Harris case. He's representing himself in this new charge that he has. It says, what to say in court when representing yourself. So this is, some advice for any of you out there that might be thinking about representing yourself, because there are those that have won when they represented themselves. But it says what to say in court when representing yourself. It says, tell the judge in a few brief sentences what your case is about and how you plan to prove the facts of your case. Some lawyers call this an opening statement. Come prepared, bring the original document and at least 2 copies of any evidence you plan to present. I think that's a good strategy. I think it's very good. Now, in Jarvis's case, and this is, in my opinion, it depends on the charge. Let me say that. Like in this case with Jarvis, I definitely wouldn't be representing myself. Can I get everybody to give our newbie Kern a warm welcome? Appreciate you for pulling up with us, Kern. Can I get everybody to give my newbie Kern a warm welcome? Appreciate the super sticker, Patricia. And we have a goal for this demonstration, 15 super stickers and super chats. If you would like to help us reach our goal of 15 super stickers and super chats, click on the $ symbol. Those that are watching this on the replay, gang, you can also click on the $ symbol as well and purchase a super sticker and a super chat. One thing about if you purchase a super chat, if you have a question for me to answer, if you have a comment for me to read, if you purchase a super chat, it guarantees that I will read your comment and it's guaranteed that I will answer your question. If you would like to send a cash donation, the Cash App is $ERICMCINT. Once again, appreciate you for pulling up with us, Kern, and make sure everybody give Kern a warm welcome. She's a newbie over here with us, and we want to show all our newbies just how much we appreciate them. All right. So let me drop my link, Miss Parker. Whenever you're ready, just come on and join me on the panel. So for the charge that Jarvis got, I mean, let's just keep it 100. You want to represent yourself with that charge. You going in front of this judge. You can just imagine how the judge is going to look at you, let alone if it goes to trial. If you get a jury trial, can you imagine how the jurors are going to look at Jarvis? Appreciate that super sticker, JV. Appreciate that super sticker, Teresa. So in my opinion, I don't think it's a good idea for Jarvis to be representing himself. Drop a one if you feel like it's not a good idea for Jarvis to be representing himself. Drop a 2 if you feel like Shank, he might got a chance. It says, has representing yourself in court ever worked? It says, how hard it will be to represent yourself depends on your individual case. And that's what I was saying, as far as it just depends on what that charge is. You know what I mean? It's like that sexual abuse against a child. I'm getting a lawyer. Because as I said before, judge already gonna look at you sideways. The jurors, if you get a jury trial, they already gonna look at you sideways. I mean, what would be your opening statements? Appreciate that super sticker, super chat, one love. Salute Shank Rock and get well soon, beautiful Miss Parker. I mean, what is Jarvis going to say? Carla says, I don't think it would matter. Max says, if he represents himself, that means he's going to talk Shank. And that could be it. Appreciate this super sticker, Tanya J. Now what I really found out about Jarvis, something that was always on my mind when it comes to Jarvis. Jarvis is not as slow as many people would believe him to be. It ain't nothing slow about Jarvis. And most monsters, believe it or not, most monsters are very intelligent. Appreciate the super sticker, Candy. Most monsters are very intelligent. Talk with Prince says he might can prove he didn't do it with evidence, just saying. Bridget says Jarvis is going to say it was consensual. Jarvis, as we speak of right now, Jarvis, if he hasn't already gotten his next victim, Jarvis is plotting on his next victim as we speak. Amma says Jarvis been in the system so long he might not know how to get, he might know how to get less time. And that's where I'm at, Amma. That's what I'm saying. He ain't as slow as many of us might believe. Appreciate you, Ada. Yep, that's how they get away the ish for so long. They clever. She was 12. That's never consensual. Jarvis been down. He been down. And this is one thing about most inmates. Most inmates, especially if they are doing any kind of time, most inmates have studied their case, whatever it is that they're locked up for. Most inmates have studied their case from back to front, front to back. Most inmates have studied the cases of other folks that they are around, right? Appreciate that super sticker, Jasmine. Appreciate the super chat, Miss T. I'm still in the hospital, slight heart attack, so I'm watching tonight. Oh, Miss T. Let us get some prayer hands for Miss T, everybody. Prayer hands for Miss T. And also, make sure we're eating right. Make sure we are exercising. And make sure we are keeping up with our physicians, our doctors. All right? Pray that you get better, Miss TT. So, Jarvis done 8 years on his first beef. So you can imagine. And that's when, remember when I was showing when he was in court and I said, watch, pay attention to Jarvis. And remember how he stayed writing? Jarvis is not slow when it comes to this court system. It says, how hard it will be to represent yourself depends on your individual case. Many people have successfully represented themselves. Others have gone to court and found that their case was more complicated or that the court process was more difficult than they expected. And that process, the court process, is what will wear you down. It's the proper protocol. It's the proper protocol that you got to follow. For any of you all that's familiar with the Shanquilla Robinson case, it's the court process, you know. And if you not aware of certain filings. And believe it or not, some defendants that represent themselves, some of them win just based off of knowing the proper filings, proper process that they have to take, protocol. The state messes up a lot of times, believe it or not. Appreciate this cash donation, Miss Arias. Now that's one way that Jarvis could beat this case. And I know, oh, Shank, why are you trying to help him beat this case? I ain't trying to help Jarvis beat his case. I'm just going over his case. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Let me take a commercial break while I go check on Miss Parker. I'll be right back, everybody. Let me go check on Miss Parker.
I'd like to place an order. Yeah. Hey, let me get a chicken box and a half and half. All right, good looking out. I'd like to place an order. Yeah. Hey, let me get a chicken box and a half and half. All right, good looking out. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. Switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. When I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. When I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. When I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes.
But before we get started with this demonstration, let me read my copyright. Younger females like older men. So my smoothie is going to consist of
I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes.
Again, shout out to all of my people in Kentucky. Go Wildcats. Shout out to my folks in Louisville, Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky, and all other surrounding areas. We have Miss Parker, the great, the wonderful Miss Parker. Salute, Miss Parker.
Hey, Shank, salute.
Feeling a little better?
Yeah, a little bit. A little better.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to hold you long. I just have a few questions for you, and then you can go back and rest up. What is your opinion, or how do you feel about allegedly Jarvis representing himself on these new charges?
I mean, that's interesting that he's representing himself considering all the stuff that's going on. But I think that's what it is, Shank, all the stuff that's happening in the NAZIYAH case. And it's almost like, what all is he telling? You know, what else is he telling? Does he feel like he's not being represented correctly with NAZIYAH's case? So he feel like this one he can do it all on his own. So yeah, it's interesting.
Now, do you think, because I don't see Jarvis as being somebody slow. Do you think Jarvis being smarter than what people give him credit for?
Now I think he's smarter than what we're giving him credit for. And considering again everything that he's got going on is you know, it's giving that Jarvis is in over his head, Shank, anyway. with just the NAZIYAH case. That's almost, it really is irrelevant at this point, not to the victim to get their justice, but whether he really does his own, like, it's giving something is happening, but with this case has been all over the place and not getting properly handled. And it's almost like, do Kim Worthy and them have to get all these cases in to really pin them the way they want to? Because here we are, we in a whole nother place now. He's in Allen Park. This is no longer Wayne County. How many other victims are going to come from this place, Shank?
Right. Do you still feel as though Jarvis unalive NAZIYAH?
I mean, yeah, because I say anybody that's there. Anybody that's there, Shank. It goes for fights or anything. Anybody that's there is just as guilty. If you sit back and watch something happen, you never say nothing, you're just as guilty. So nobody gets a pass in this. So absolutely.
Is it anything that you would like to say to my Rock Squad, your riders, and everybody else that's tuning in? Because everybody been ringing me, DMing me, and leaving messages. And I said, let me just do everybody something that's going to really, really make everybody happy. Because it's one thing for me to tell everybody, Miss Parker's fine, because they still hit me up. So is it anything that you would like to tell everybody on how you feel?
I do want to say something else, Shank. I think we're looking into the rest of 2025 of victims from all over Michigan coming forward. I don't think it's the last we're going to see of Jarvis having. I think that's why they were saying how the case might go a little long. It might not be a jury selection because all of these victims are coming forward, and they didn't say that the victims are all from the same place. And so it's going to be very interesting to see in the next few months, especially getting closer to October, because I know we so want this trial to start, but at the same time, I want every I dotted, every T crossed before they move forward with doing anything else, because the least little thing is gonna give Jarvis that win. Yes, we know he's got the SA charges, but we want him to go down for this. We want all of them to go down for everything, but we don't want them messing it up, because Jarvis is feeling mighty powerful to go and represent himself, Shank ass. Speaking of little volumes. And the ones we give the less credit to are always the ones that are, a little smarter than what we thought.
So you think he's feeling powerful right now? Appreciate that super chat, T-Lady. T-Lady says, sending love to Miss Parker with a bunch of tacos. And y'all thank T-Lady for putting up these pictures, because we don't throw up the tacos over here. We throw up hot dogs. So make sure y'all thank T-Lady for these pictures. Do you think, how many more, Miss Parker, how many more little girls do you think Jarvis will be getting charged with?
Let me see. I know one of the mother's child is already pursuing charges against one of the ladies on the screen, for sure.
Which lady would that be, Miss Parker?
I can't say because then it'll
Can't
tell
say.
who the little girl belongs to.
Okay.
But I read her testimony, So one of the ladies, I don't know how her testimony is gonna go based off of what her child said, but the 4 year old's mother is up on the one of the mothers up on the screen. Um, if we have her, we have more, you know. And a lot of people hasn't some people hide it, Shank.
Yeah, yeah.
Some people that's been SA, they hide it. They put it away in a dark place and hoping to never have those feelings come back again. Some people get married that's been SA, go to church to think that that's gonna fight the demons off and things like that, and it doesn't all the time. Yeah, one of the mothers up on this.
Miss Park, I want to go to his stable of women. Appreciate the super sticker, Joy, and appreciate the super sticker. Once again, you all have read you well to thank for me putting the pictures up. I keep trying to take the pictures down, but these funky ass troublemakers of mine keep on doing what I tell everybody not to do. So make sure you all thank Read You Well with her funky ass. This is why the pictures are up there. But let's talk about his stable of women, Miss Parker. Now, do you think me and you had this conversation, okay? And remember I was saying that out of all of the women that's in Jarvis's stable, Shannon is the only one that actually loved him, that actually, genuinely felt for him. The others were just trying to see if they could take Jarvis from Shannon. What's your thoughts? Do you feel the same way?
I mean, I do feel like out of all the women, Shannon was the piss poor of them all. Um, she allowed, she sacrificed her own child to him. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I say that because once you realize what's happening with your niece, and you already knew that society gave him a second chance, so you kind of had that feeling and that inkling, something about him and NAZIYAH to where you went through the messages.
Mm.
And Jarvis stated things to let you know that Shannon knew in those messages. It's not hard to overlook those messages and say, Shannon did. So do y'all think Shannon knew? Shannon want to come upstairs too. Nah, I don't want to be bothered with her. Give her some D. You know what I'm saying? That's all she want.
Right.
This is their messages. These are their conversations. Did you ask them, can I go? And stuff at 2 and 3 in the morning. So, again, Shannon was ride or die for his sexual appetite.
Stay
And
right
so
there.
what
Go ahead, Miss Parker. Go ahead.
so I'm just saying, the other ones he had to sneak and touch their kids. Some he might not even had to sneak because if you go back to Mark D's live again, um, when they told Angel and Lucretia he could not be with their children by himself. And that was back in the day, Shank. That wasn't nothing recent. That was back in the teens, 2015. NAZIYAH didn't go missing until 2024. And we still had Angelita going back with Shannon during all that time. So they knew. They were suckers for love. I don't think they just all allowed him to just basically touch their children or do anything inappropriate, but Shannon allowed it to keep Jarvis around. She would give all her tax money to keep Jarvis around. Where he's buying everybody matching, looking like matching rings and shit for the holidays. If y'all go look at a lot of their pages and go way down, back then when they was first having kids by Jarvis. They got rings on that look so similar. And you could tell whose time it was with him. You know, based off of little stuff finding like that, it's like, man, this is crazy. He's having babies here. He's having babies there. Shannon's still rocking with it. Shannon still stand on. She's Mrs. Butts and 5 kids, and she felt solidified for having 5 of his kids versus 1 or 2. So she took that and she ran with it, even if that meant, you know, you stated something earlier, Shank, about those videos. I think you should touch on that. Those videos that she done with NAZIYAH and Janiyah. And the things she was saying, what was she doing? Was Jarvis the only one soliciting the kids? Why Kim Worthy didn't want to look at everything?
Right. Shout out to my moderator, 80s Baby. Glad to see you down there in the chat. 80s Baby has been on a long road of recovery. Can I get everybody to throw up some prayer hands for my moderator, 80s Baby? She has suffered back-to-back strokes. Glad to see you down there in the chat, 80s Baby. Those videos, when I saw that video and I saw NAZIYAH dancing, twerking, when I saw Janiyah dancing and twerking, and I saw NAZIYAH's middle finger up. Now, I can't remember who it was. It was either Marquita or Shannon. I get them mixed up all the time. And that's what made me do the demonstration earlier today. I can't play it because if I play it, I'll get a copyright infraction. So I can't play it. But you know, what were they teaching them? And I know that it's the norm. Like, you see mothers, you even see grandmothers, you know, on social media with their little daughters, their granddaughters, and they be twerking. Me personally, I don't like that. I don't like to see little kids twerking. I think little kids should stay in a child's place. So what exactly was really going on? Some people have said that Miss Annette is a madam. Some people say that Miss Annette had all of them in training. Right?
I mean, you know, nowadays, you know, nowadays you even get more of the fathers with these line dances, and they show the kids and they show the father looking at the kids like, you know, it's too much rolling, that's too much, you know, not in the camera. I mean, with this situation, the only thing to make you look at that video different now is because the situation that's come with it, you know, the inappropriateness with Jarvis. So it makes you look at Shannon with the, okay, bounce that ass, y'all, you know. And you see what he had going on as far as pictures, recording them, selling recordings and pictures to other parties. What was she doing? Because I don't put none past none of them at this point. Because I'm not doing it with my granddaughter and my niece. Let alone my child. I've never. And I got 3 daughters, but I'm never excited. Yeah, bounce that ass. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
they do their
right.
TikToks. Who am I to tell them what to do on the TikToks? And if I see something, I'll be like, hey, can you clean that up a little bit? What you teaching your child? But just to be like, okay, bounce that ass and, you know,
Like Miss Shirley's mother. I've done a demonstration on Miss Shirley's mother. That little baby, what, 4 years old? And Miss Shirley's mother had that baby, pimping that baby out. I believe she changed it up a little now. I believe she switched lanes, but that right there really turned my stomach upside down. With like, you got your 4-year-old baby daughter dancing at nightclubs with adults. You got your 4-year-old baby taking pictures with grown men, and these grown men in the pictures with her. What is that to say? So this is what I'm saying. Jarvis won't be the last pedo that we're going to be dealing with. NAZIYAH Harris is not going to be the last child. It's sick. It's sad. Like, and I say it all the time. Look, we can have fun. We can party. We can do our thing. But children are off limits. Y'all know we couldn't even come around grown folks. And it just, when you keep constantly seeing the way how things are going downhill. Appreciate the super sticker intentionally for me.
And then too, it's a lot of the stuff that's happening nowadays, Shane. Not just because we know we got the Jarvises out there before we heard about NAZIYAH's story. We know there's such thing as them. Look at the Sade Robinson case. You know, the dude online. There's so many other cases and situations like that before Sade. Kids missing by meeting people online. You know, the stings they had. So, you know, online is so detrimental right now to our youth. It just is. It's been that way before Jarvis. For the soliciting of the children in their photos, you know, making them do things. Kids run away. Kids missing on a daily because of social media. So no, you don't want to do that. You know, that's just hell. The real parents are scared of it. Real mothers are scared of social media. Even our sons playing the games, we are scared of social media because where it's taking our children, our youth, period. So, yeah. But that's all I wanted to share, Shane. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Miss Parker. You got to let everybody know how you're feeling.
Not so good. I feel horrible. I've been overdoing it today. And I got cussed out by Kenya and Shank for overdoing it. So yeah, I'm just resting now.
So on that note, Miss Parker, take your funky ass somewhere and lay the hell down.
I'm trying. All right. Salute to the riders, the Rock Squad, and everybody. Hit that like button and pour into Shank like I pour into me. It's a good demonstration.
All right, get some rest, Miss Parker. Let's give it up for Miss Parker, Miss Parker, Miss Parker. Miss Parker put so much work in, y'all. I mean, she really does. When Miss Parker first started covering the NAZIYAH Harris case, she was so excited. She was so excited. And she used to always come to me for advice. And she would always come to me and be like, okay, what should I do? And how to do this and how to do that. And next thing I know, Miss Parker didn't have to come to me for no advice. Miss Parker didn't have to come to me for me to walk her through none of the demonstrations. Miss Parker went head first. And as y'all see Miss Parker now, Miss Parker is really, really doing her thing. And I just want to tell Miss Parker how proud of her that I am, because Miss Parker did a complete 180, not a 360. A lot of people don't understand when you say, yeah, a person done a 360. Well, all the 360 is you starting at one point and then you returning back to that point that you started from. The 180 is actually you reaching another level or becoming new from the old person. So Ms. Parker done a 180 and y'all see her now. She's passionate about these cases. She takes her work serious. So I just want to shout out Miss Parker and her riders. She got a hell of a team with her. Those riders are something else. The riders, they hold Miss Parker down. So I'm proud of Miss Parker and her riders. Keep doing your thing. All right. Now, I'm not going to hold y'all that much longer. Jarvis, for those that just pulled up, Jarvis is representing himself, right, on these new charges. Let me backtrack for those that just pulled up. Not for the charges against NAZIYAH. He still has that attorney, but he's going to be representing himself on these new charges, on this new charge.
Harris is now facing new charges in a separate case. Jarvis Butts is accused of sexually assaulting a 12-year-old girl back in 2013. Prosecutors say it happened at a home in Allen Park. He's being charged with criminal sexual conduct in that case. He's due back in court over this charge next week.
So he's charged with criminal.
Last year, Butts was charged
sexual misconduct, right? Before I leave, I want to ask everybody, and those that are catching this on the replay gang, you know I value y'all opinion. So make sure everybody that's catching this on the replay gang, make sure y'all weigh in on this question that I'm about to ask. I've asked it before. I want to ask it again. We know that Jarvis was inappropriately touched at 13 years old by this woman. We know that this woman has never been arrested for the inappropriate touching of Jarvis, right? I'm only playing devil's advocate. I'm just, reaching. Do you think that Jarvis has a case if he says that because he was inappropriately touched, he never got any help? The monster that inappropriately touched him made him feel as though it was okay. What are y'all thoughts? Phyllis says that's not a good idea to self-represent oneself. That go Antoinette. She won't act right, y'all. Antoinette won't act right. She got to throw up them tacos. Sean says no. Carla says, I think Jarvis has a case against his pedo. Phyllis says no. And I know most of y'all going to say no. Capricorn says nope. He chose to be a monster. Hurt people, but you could choose change. And that's so true, Capricorn. Candy says no. Appreciate the super chat, Tanya. Tanya says great demonstration, Shank Rock, and thank you, Miss Parker. I hope you're feeling well. I hope you're feeling better tonight, Tanya. Takesha says, well, it's different because he is a man. So he probably didn't feel like it was wrong to even consider. How do y'all feel about Takesha's comment? She says it's different because he's a man. I see your angle, Takesha. I see your angle. But is that to say just because he's a man, he can't be a victim? But I see your angle. Alicia says, thanks. No, I think he did enough time to study law and he thinks he's able to rep himself. Shank, there's a lot of people involved that have blood on their hands. Exactly. That's facts. That's facts. Make your comment stand out. Hit that super chat. Morgan says, she looks like a skinny version of Annette and he too far gone. Nope. I see you, Veronica. I see you, Miss Blonde. Michelle says, thank you. Kippy says, nope, it's no excuses. Shai says, I totally agree with you, Mr. Shank. If he would have got help, he may have not have turned out like he did, my opinion. And that's just where I'm going at with it, everybody. And I'm not justifying him. No. I'm not justifying him. So please, on the replay game, please don't chop my head off. I'm not justifying Jarvis. No, I'm just saying now, because if it was a woman, if it was the other way around, and if that was done to Jarvis, and Jarvis was a woman at 13, and then she later on inappropriate touch kids, people would look at the woman differently. Women get looked at differently when they perpetrate crimes. Tasha says Jarvis got a type. Lorraine says no, he has a fool for a lawyer. Carla says boy or girl, it's the same. One Love says, I just shocked that this fool has decided to take off his mask, show his nasty teeth, and talk and let us hear and see him. Brave 15 says, so where them officers and that boat was going, I know I ain't the only one saw it. Phyllis says, it might help get him some needed help. Hip Hop says, the fact he kept telling her to delete the messages told us he knew what he was doing. I'm getting there. Thank you, Shank. Okay, Tanya. Can I get everybody to throw up some prayer hands for Tanya J? There's no difference. Hey, Miss Parker, good to hear your voice and know that you're doing well. My sister in survival. Capricorn says, most men don't think they have been abused because they mess with an older woman. They think it's a good thing. He should have been able to be a kid also when he was 13. Martha says, nowadays we can't trust anyone with our children. Peaches says, no, Jarvis cannot blame his actions on her after being in jail for touching kids. He knew better. Brave says, Jarvis don't have any money. That's probably why he represented himself. That's a good point, Brave 15. No, I'm saying he was young, getting grown kitty cat. Some young men think it's cool rather than that they are a victim, although we know the age difference, etc. He the only one can say he a victim. That's true. That's true, Takesha. No, it's just as bad if it's a boy. My nephew was molested by a lunchroom lady. It ruins the kid's life. Ani Mo says he could be just making the court a longer process. That's another good point, Ani Mo. Veronica says, damn, 13 like curse. Nita says, while he may be a victim, the abused often do become the abusers, Diddy and Cassie, but at some point he knew what he was doing was wrong. That's true, Nita. Juanita says, I agree, Shari. He should have gotten the proper help at the time he needed to, but he made a choice not to. All good points, everybody. He has enough years and probably being warned once it wasn't enough to stop and may have had courses in prison to rehab him. Pedos normally don't get cured. Absolutely not. One wrong doesn't justify the next. That's true, Nick. Milky Way says, what if the woman was also abused as a child? All good points, everybody. All good points. I'm praying that all the victims receive all the help they need, because it's true. Hurt people. And let me just slip in. Make sure y'all subscribe to Miss Parker if y'all haven't already subscribed to Miss Parker. Miss Parker, grab a membership over there with Miss Parker as well. Joy says, Shy, I'm so sorry for what happened to your nephew. So this is where I'm going at with all of this. I see Shank and Rock Squad. JB feels like everybody has turned their backs on him, and he is going to tell on everyone that was involved and don't want that red rum charge. All right. So now we know that Jarvis, appreciate that super sticker, Capricorn Chronicles. We are 2 super stickers or super chats away from reaching our goal. We only need 2 super stickers or super chats to reach our goal. If you would like us to reach our goal, if you would like to help us reach our goal, click on the $ symbol. I see you, Juanita. Juanita says 2 wrongs don't make a right. Salute, T-Kiss. Let me grab this one more. Yes, it's true of him getting as a child. There was enough time for him to realize that what he was guilty of doing was wrong. And I agree. Once again, everybody's opinions made excellent sense. So we looking at her, right? This is the woman that inappropriately touched Jarvis, correct? Now, one thing that we all notice when you look at this woman that inappropriately touched him when he was 13, and if you go to his stable of women, do y'all see where I'm going at with this? They all favor each other. Appreciate that super chat, Tanya J. Appreciate the super chat. Appreciate that super chat, Kimberly. There go Kimberly. Happy Tuesday with yo funky ass. Kimberly, you just won't do right, will you? Appreciate that super sticker, Wise Libra. Got one more. Appreciate the super sticker, Phyllis. Damn, they coming in. Appreciate the super sticker, Miss TT. So if we look at girl, the one that inappropriately touched Jarvis, and if then we go to his stable of women, you can see. And once again, I'm not making no excuses for Jarvis. I'm not. Appreciate the super sticker, Tudor. Taj. Butterfly. Appreciate everybody for helping us reach our goal for this demonstration. But let's just look at his stable. You know, they say crack. How many of y'all remember crack when they hit the crack for the first time? A crackhead chased that high for many, many years. So could Jarvis be chasing that thrill that he got from this woman? Appreciate the super sticker, Miss Nick. Paris, appreciate the super sticker. Sean says yes. Now, this is the bombshell. And then we're going to get out of here, y'all. In my opinion, I do believe that that's the case. I do believe that Jarvis got turned out by that woman. And I do believe that all the women that's in his stable, I believe that that's what attracted Jarvis to them women at first. At first. I do think that Jarvis is a victim. Hold on. Don't y'all come for me. Replay gang, don't y'all come for me. Hold on. Let me finish. Because y'all quick to come for me when I say Jarvis is a victim. Let me finish. I do believe that Jarvis, once upon a time, was a victim. But I do believe that because Jarvis never got the help that he needed, I do believe that Jarvis went from being a victim to turning into being a monster. I believe that if Jarvis would have got help, I don't think Jarvis would have became that monster. Appreciate that super sticker, JV. Miss Bull says, I just got mad again with who all of them. Pern says, for sure. I agree, Shank. Now he is a monster. He's a monster now. And that's why people, and hey, only, I guess God can change us. But I believe we so far gone as a society. Like when we should be getting help. Like a lot of people suffer from mental illness. And a lot of us don't seek counseling. A lot of us don't seek therapy, especially in our community. As melanated people, whatever you want to call us, y'all know who I'm talking about. As melanated people, especially us men, it's hard. It's hard for a melanated man to get help. It's hard for a black man to get help because of the stigmas, because of how we've been brainwashed as men. We don't got a support system. We don't got a support system. We don't. But most men need therapy. Most men need counseling. Most men need a support system. But who am I going to go to? I'll get laughed at. I know what y'all going to say. Nah, Shank. I'll get laughed at. If I come and if I try to explain how I'm feeling, that's why I said in a previous demonstration, for us men, you gotta express your feelings. You gotta get it off of your chest, because what happens if, as a man, if you're not getting help and if you don't get it off of your chest, you're going to explode. And that's why, not all, but that's why most men resort to red rum. Because they wanted to express themselves. But it's hard on us. And ladies, y'all really have to understand. Listen, and I know many of you all think that y'all got the answers to us men. I know many of you all are going to try to tell us men what to do. That's the problem. And that's have always been the problem. Now, I ain't talking about Jarvis. I'm somewhere else. I'll come back to Jarvis. Please don't come for me. I'm just the messenger. However, ladies, y'all gotta stop thinking that y'all know what's best for us men. Ladies, y'all got to stop telling us men what we need to do. Ladies, y'all need to listen to us. And see, that has been the problem for us men all these years. When we try to come forward, when we try to express ourselves, when we try to talk to y'all and tell y'all what we're going through, we get shut down. I'm not talking about Jarvis. Jarvis is a monster, all right? So no, I'm not talking about Jarvis. But we don't want more Jarvises running around here. That's the plane that I'm trying to land. Somebody failed Jarvis. Somebody failed Jarvis. As Takesha said, well, with boys, with men, y'all looked at it as a badge of honor. That's not true. That's not true. You got to look at it and put it in its proper perspective. That's a grown woman, right? This was a grown woman that inappropriately touched Jarvis when he was 13 years old. It's not like it was a little girl. Can I talk to y'all? So you got a grown woman. You got a grown woman and you got a little boy. And this is what I'm saying. But I'm going to come back to you, Phyllis. Let me lead this up on here. I'm going to come back to that comment right there. And this is what I'm saying, everybody. Listening goes both ways, Shank. And this is the problem. Once again, women, you got to listen to your man. We've been listening to y'all for so long. And this is the problem that we always face as men. When it's our turn to talk, there go the comment. Oh, Shank, listening go both ways. I'll come back to that. But I got to come back to Jarvis. Jarvis was 13 years old. I'm just keeping it 100. Can you imagine a 13-year-old boy in relations with a grown woman? Can you imagine how scared he may have felt? Please don't come for me, y'all. Please. Let me get through this demonstration. I know the replay gang funky asses is going to let me have it. But I got to get this off of my chest. I got to get it off of my chest, y'all. Jarvis was 13 years old. I mean, you can imagine how intimidated he might have been. I'm 13 years old. My best friend ain't but that big. So I got this grown woman, a grown woman, her kitty, bam, her kitty wide open. Her body is developed. I'm a little kid. I'm 13 years old. I said it in the last demonstration that I done. When I was 13 and 14, it was some girls that was my age. It was some 14 and 15-year-old girls that was my age that I was intimidated by because of their body. They had breasts out here. They had hips. They had, they had a big butt. So I was intimidated by them. So you can imagine how intimidated a 13-year-old boy could have been when it came to that woman. Right? And that's, once again, as I said before, women go wrong when women always try to think for us. And I'm not trying to make this into no man versus woman demonstration, y'all. I'm not trying to make this into a man versus woman demonstration. I'm just trying to land a plane. I'm just trying to make a point. So future little boys don't end up like Jarvis. That's all I'm trying to do. Let me say it again. I'm not trying to take up for Jarvis. Jarvis is a monster. Jarvis should go to prison for the rest of his life. I'm just trying to land a plane so that future little boys that need help, that get inappropriately touched, don't end up in Jarvis's situation. And I'm not even going to address the women because I already see it went over y'all head. Y'all hitting with me. Oh, men don't listen with It's not about that, y'all. It's not. It's not. You know what I mean? I see you, prima donna. But they failed Jarvis. Just like, and just hear me out. And I'm not making this into a men versus woman demonstration. I'm not making this into a woman bashing demonstration. I'm putting it in its proper perspective, and I'm just calling a spade a spade. Just like it was women that failed Jarvis, it too was women that failed NAZIYAH. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It was women that failed Jarvis, and it was women that failed NAZIYAH. I appreciate everybody for pulling up. Let me grab a few comments, then we're going to get out of here. Maybe his best friend traumatized and is still 13 years old, which is why he targets youngins and women that will ignore that. He feels insufficient. Just a thought. We understand you, Shank. I feel like this generation of parents and family are so disconnected from the children. This is why these type of things happen. Of course, they failed Jarvis. He was a child. Once again, I see you, prima donna. Understandable, Shank. Absolutely. Exactly. 100. I see you, D-Money. Appreciate the super sticker blessings. Appreciate that super sticker blessings. Krisha says, so true. Miss Low-Key says, 100. So hopefully Miss Parker will be back tomorrow. So for everybody that is waiting on Miss Parker, I do believe Miss Parker will be back tomorrow. I appreciate everybody for pulling up. I will leave the chat running and you all can hang around. And that's why he had no respect for women. He was a victim as a child, but he made his choice of hurting kids. True, true. Again, salute everybody. I will leave the chat running. Let me grab this. Those women were flawed themselves. I am a good listener. It's a learning process to listen to. Good night, Juanita. Appreciate you, Mouth. Appreciate you, Deuce. Salute, Shank. Appreciate everybody. And I won't punish you all. But if I see some tacos in that chat, if I see anybody say funky ass, y'all know I'm going to punish y'all with the famous picture. Salute everybody. I'll see y'all back. I'll leave the chat running, y'all. Let me see which one I'm going to put up for y'all. Once again, I better not see no funky asses in the chat. And I better not see no tacos. Salute everybody. Let me put this up here. Y'all won't do right to save the world. And you know what? That's okay. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Look at Tanya. Y'all will not do right to save the world. Y'all funky asses will not do right. Look at y'all. Look at this. I love you too, Martha. Look at this. Look at these funky ass people. Just told y'all funky asses. Do not say funky ass and do not throw up tacos. So since y'all funky asses want to be so smart, here you go.
The piranhas eat the meat.
Big Lou, Shank, Rock, 8 niggas, where the work at? I got some bad bitches bout they bread, they be twerking. Get a boosty boo in the boot, brain it working. Got the money, lotion up my palms, like it's some jerky. Yeah, I hit that 2-step, time 2, I'm about money. She say that pussy good and sweet, bet it tastes like honey. I be chasing for them dollars, I be looking for them stacks. Bet lil' mama gon' holler when I hit it from the back. Yeah, doggy style of ass, got her screaming out, man. They already know it's mob, ain't no need to explain. Got it tatted on my nigga, can't go against the grain. Fuck what they talking, it's $1 million thing.
Got $1 million thing, I don't give a fuck. I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up.
She stay up in the bed, now watch her toot it up.
I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up. I'm tryna $1 million thing, I don't give a fuck. I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up.
She stay up in the bed, now watch her toot it up.
I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up.
See my fuck game is straight, yeah, I lay down long. It's a scratching, banging on my chest like I'm King Kong. A very freaky girl, not the type you take the mama. Had a crushing pill, smoking weed, licking combine. Not the cutest nigga, but my pimp game strong. Ooh, nigga, no Viagra, but my dick stay hard. Love a down chick, cause she help me put in work. Catch your ass slipping while you flirting with her skirt. See, I live life the G-way, getting on the freeway. You look good, but pimpin' ain't easy. If she ain't nasty, since she can't please me, I like seductive type. Touch me, tease
Got $1
me.
million thing, I don't give a fuck. I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up.
She stay up in the bed, now watch her toot it up.
I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up. I'm tryna $1 million thing, I don't give a fuck. I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up.
She stay up in the bed, now watch her toot it up.
I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up.
It's $1 million affair, the jewels be gleaming. When I walk in, them pretty hoes be scheming, trying to figure a way that they could give me a threesome. By the end of the night, them sucker niggas be beaming. But I'm on my shit, the 4/5 on hit, just in case them niggas right there wanna trip. I knocked a sip for his chick a few years ago. Put her up on some game, showed her how to get dough. I got $1 million THANG in the club with a BADDIE. She said she loves me in that movie, OG like me. And all them hoes from her hood wanna see about me.
Got $1 million thing, I don't give a fuck. I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up.
She stay up in the bed, now watch her toot it up.
I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up. I'm tryna $1 million thing, I don't give a fuck. I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up.
She stay up in the bed, now watch her toot it up.
I beat that pussy up, I'm tryna finger it up.